Greetings Marines, FiOth here, and at last I got the bloody perks and I am able to bring fresh builds to you, including stuff that became available with Season 3. Now, you might not be aware of this, but every class has a perk that drops from the hidden caches. That's one per mission, and most of them are very substantial. I have my doubts about the demos one because it's kind of stupid, but the rest of these perks are very powerful. The Gunner's perk, Stopwatch, is a monstrosity. What it does is give you 20% unmodified overclock when overclock is in cooldown. So you either get a powerful overclock when using overclock or a weakened version of overclock at all times when you're not actively using overclock and it is in cooldown. So it is very powerful, but you have to build around it a bit. So I didn't tinker with my Vanguard 2.0 build. I got up the stopwatch in there to improve my overclock, but that build is all about powerful grenades and mobility, so that's not the direction I took this. I modified my Shredder build that I made back in the day. Didn't get the traction that Vanguard got because Vanguard is much more flashy and you will be throwing grenades all the time and much more enjoyable. I'm using Vanguard more, so I should know. But Shredder 2.0 is a beast, and I'm gonna demonstrate how you can attain it. By the way, the clip in the beginning was on Insane Solo. So, without further ado, let's get to it. What has to be understood about this thing is that you're gonna be using automatic weapons. So don't worry too much about burst stuff, don't worry too much about pinpoint accuracy at all times. You will be using an assault rifle, preferably the default pulse. As you can see here, I made a video recently about how to mod the M41A2 pulse for every class. You should go check it out because I'm explaining my thought process behind modding the gun for every single kit. Of course, the M37A3 pump is our shotgun of choice because everything else pales in comparison to this thing. The tree itself now. A lot of sacrifices had to be made to get what I wanted in here. I'm gonna start with the secondary stuff and then I'm gonna focus on the primary stuff. So, remote detonator and disorienting blast on your grenade, no matter what, always on the gunner because it gives you an ability that kills the fodder enemies in one blast and allows you to crowd control the rest by knocking them down. It is beastly, and that's the reason why I always say that the demo at this point is dead in the water because they have to sacrifice all the rocket damage to get CC or get damage without CC, and the gunner can do both for 2 blocks on their grid. Here we want batteries included to get that 20% recharge speed, and that is it for the frag. We're not putting anything else on the frag. We're done here. With this frag, you're able to kill folders in the center of the blast zone, as you saw in the beginning of this vid, and the rest will be damaged and knocked down, and you can finish them off by spraying your assault rifle. Now, stay on target is a very important ability. It gives you up to 20% damage. We want targets acquired. When you have full stacks of stay on target, your ability recharge speed is greatly increased. It's almost halved. It's a very substantial bonus. So, target acquired always has to be on a gunner's grid, in my opinion. Now, I really wanted focus fire and overwhelming fire in here. Really did. If I hadn't used it, I'll have 7 blocks to spare and use other stuff on. But guys, listen to this. Damaging a target causes them to take 2% more damage, stacking up to 5 times. That's 10% from all sources on top of everything else. Red's dead, for example. All that good stuff. Overwhelming fire, damaging an enemy that has 5 stacks of focus fire will now briefly stun the target. This effect may occur against the same target once every 30 seconds. So what you want to do here when you're fighting the ultras, the heavy hitters, your first stun should be an overwhelming fire one. Just shoot it 6 times, like literally 6 bullets will get the job done. and you got one stun. Then you stick him with a remote detonator knife, you have a second stun. Then you explode the grenade and you have a third stun. That is, if you didn't already have a cryo between them and you. That'd be a fourth stun. So what we're trying to do here is leverage a high rate of fire to spray around and initiate as many stun cycles as possible with focus and overwhelming fire. That's why I wanted this in here. This build is all about keeping the fire rate high and disrupting the enemy. This will work to your advantage, trust me, so give this configuration a go. If you have doubts about this too, just let me know in the comment section below, but trust me guys, I tried this extensively, it's very, very good. For overclock now, the star of the show, we want overload interlink. Overclock now instantly reloads your current gun on activation and also extends the 50% reload speed increase to your whole team. Guys, many people are not running quick load interlink. I like having maybe 25% faster with venting, but that's only for you, and this is a team game. That 50% faster reload speed that you get out of quick load interlink is integral to the team's optimized DPS during overclock. Okay, when I have a gunner in the team who is not me and I start reloading after my initial barrage and I reload like I have 3 fingers, I'm like, dude, always run this. It is very, very important. Now for the buffs, we go long haul for 20% duration, rapid deployment for 20% recharge speed, and extended duration 4 for an additional 22% duration. That will lead to plus 20% recharge speed and plus 42% duration. Now, the most important part of this is, of course, stopwatch. While overclock is on cooldown, you gain 20% of modified benefits. Why only 20% recharge speed, though? Well, you will be spamming overclock a lot with this build. It's not like Vanguard when you keep your overclock for when you're getting pushed by prowlers or the biggies. So you don't necessarily need it to be on a very short cooldown. You are getting benefits from stopwatch all the time whilst it's in cooldown. You don't want it to be overly extended in case you need it, but having it all the time with a very short cooldown timer will also pretty much, make stopwatch irrelevant. And if you're gonna make this very powerful perk irrelevant, what's the point of having it? You understand what I'm saying? So we're gonna help this with the 20% recharge speed, but we don't want it to be the focus of our build. We want to make use of stopwatch. Okay, so I'm gonna try to optimally fire my pulse rifle to show you the duration of this thing, how many times we can reload in between, and what times we're looking at when we're waiting for the cooldown. So I'm gonna activate and start spamming right away. Get ready. 1 reload. 2 reloads. And we barely don't make it into a 3rd reload. Now we have stopwatch, and as you can see, we're almost at the 34 seconds. On the top left, you can see the question mark because they didn't have a placeholder for this ability. It tickles down, and we are benefiting from the 20%, of course. But what's very, very important is I do not have stay on target active at this point, because if I had enemies in front of me, by the time we were done with overclock, I would be able to leverage this, targets acquired, and I'd save a lot of time out of that cooldown. So, because you're playing a gunner and you're firing an automatic, as I said, you have targets acquired all the time, and that helps both your grenade, which is on a pretty low cooldown anyway, and your overclock that is on a larger cooldown. So you have to be relatively accurate, you have to keep those stacks going. It is both damage and helps your cooldowns across the board, so don't overlook this. If you can just, I don't know, fire on a working Joe on a rock along the way and build your stacks, do that. Keep your stacks high at all times and you'll have your abilities at all times. Okay, this is the Shredder 2.0 build, guys. One out of the new builds that we'll be bringing to you now that I got the perks finally. Thanks to Cold Iron for patching this. It took a while, surely, but guys have a lot on their plate, I suppose, and they got it done eventually, so there is no reason to bitch about it. I hope you enjoyed this build. I know it's not as flashy as my Vanguard build. There is no one saying that I'm not gonna try to get a Vanguard 3.0 out there, but I wanted to bring something new, something a little more nuanced to you, in case you want to mix things up and have a bit of variety. Now, tonight I might start covering Evil Dead, so hit the notification bell for more Aliens content, Alien stream, and what's to come with Evil Dead game. Sub, like, and share if you want to see the channel grow and I can include more stuff to the content. Get a membership and visit my Patreon if you really want to help me out with keeping the lights on. And until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection, Marines. Cheers.